Hello and welcome back to another journey of truth in life where we utilize the power of truth, the light of truth, in order to expose the evil that lurks and hide in the shadows of darkness. I'm your host. I go by the name of More Than a Conqueror. Uh, Real name is Case Owens, Casey Owens, and I am a real life victim of a sinister crime perpetrated by none other than your United States government. This crime that I speak of involved the citizen participation in order to be effective. It is hinged around psychological warfare, deceptions, psychological manipulation, along with new age surveillance technologies, neuroinvasive technologies, pharmaceutical druggings, poisonings, and electromagnetic directed energy weapons, anti personal assaults, meaning that the perpetrator can victimize from a distance. It don't have to be a direct um, assaults. And in my personal experience, there was the spreading of lies, slanders, defamation, and the lacks of a racist counterintelligence program that was outlawed in the 1970s. I uh, realized I was being uh, targeted around 2013, 2014-ish, is when I noticed the program go from being covert, meaning undercover, surveillance, inconspicuous, um, to being obvious. That's when they actually wanted me to know they were perpetrating the crime against me. A lot of um, agent provocateurs. These are uh, federal agents and their civilian subcontracted counterparts that would dress in regular clothing, oftentimes working everyday jobs or pretending to carry on everyday business such as work, church, school. They would um, infiltrate my life and cause utter chaos. I initially noticed the chaos and the form of workplace mobbing. I used to work for a company called Schneider Intermodal, located at 3600 Cosner, that's Kosner Avenue in Chicago, Illinois. Um, and I was lured into working for this Fortune 500 company for the purposes of easy access, easy targeting. Once I got onto this job, I noticed that they had a lot of double agents, meaning that although someone may have been working for the actual corporation, which was a cover up for a federal operation, like many of these other Fortune 500 companies, they also would be associated with the Department of Homeland Security, CIA, FBI, Infogard, and the likes thereof. So while carrying out operations as dispatcher or logistics manager, etc., they would also be perpetrating the COINTELPRO crimes underneath the disguise of national security, workplace safety, mental health laws, etc. This whole new extrajudicial, unconstitutional deep state apparatus that was created post 9/11. Now, I don't want to get into the lengthy breakdown of how they utilize the events of September 11th, 2001, in order to build an anti-constitutional, anti-democratic republic. So, in essence, there are two Americas in existence in the same space-time continuum as we speak. There's the America that most people know and love, representing the red, white, and blue, the fight for democracy, freedom, human rights, constitutional protections, etc. And then there's this deep state, um, hyper surveillance, oligarchan, George Orwellian 1984 style US coexisting at the exact same time. Now, it is difficult to uh, separate the one from the other if you don't have the eyes to see, if you're not able to discern um, who's on what side. It is very difficult to see. But getting back to my personal testimony, as being a victim of the United States government perpetrating COINTELPRO 2.0 crimes against my life and my family life, I was working for this Fortune 500 company called Schneider Intermodal when uh, a, the program went overt, going from manipulating things behind the scene in order to cause adversity in my life to moving to the forefront. This is when federal agents made themselves known. They was very vulgar, very direct in their intent of destroying my character, my life, etc. And they was very effective. I mean, it's been over 10 years, and the effect that it's had on my finances, um, my goals that were set, my family relationships, etc., even my health, mentally, physically, and spiritually, have been traumatizing, and it's still ongoing. Nonetheless, around 2013, 2014ish, this program um, going overt uh, didn't necessarily mean I knew exactly what it was, because up until that point, my understanding of the system of government that we had was that we had elected officials uh, put into place to protect and serve the people. And all the counterparts, whether in law enforcement, federally, state, or locally, was there to enforce, uh, the actions of the protect and serve clause uh, in the articles and Constitution. Now, I was rudely awakened to the truth that not all people who are elected to government have the uh, country's best interests at heart. I also was awakened to the harsh truth that there are a lot of bad apples in law enforcement, specifically the FBI and CIA. And although I had read about sinister programs such as MK Ultra, the LSD experiments, the Tuskegee experiment, Baltimore Project, COINTELPRO, and a host of others, disgraceful uh, historical markers in this country, I ignorantly assumed that we were beyond that threshold. To the contrary, we have gone deeper into the layers of darkness. And those with dark mindsets, the dark psychological mindset, wish to carry out these crimes on a broader scale. But before they can do so, they wish to identify and eliminate any and all that carry characteristics and traces of humanity. And that brings me to our title, Surviving in a Anti-Humanism Society. And I see we do have people rolling into the building without question. Battle for the Brain is in the building, saying hi, Case. Thanks for speaking out against this transhumanism totalitarian system. You are welcome. I am fighting for myself. I'm fighting for my family. I'm fighting for every man, woman, and child and tiny little pot-belly, wiggly-toed baby across the world. I am fighting for our lives, and I say proudly that when I throw these hands, I'm giving it all I got. That's mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. I am and have been fighting this system for quite some time. And it has come with a multitude of repercussions and consequences. For one, I've had my character assassinated in ways that I will speak about in the court of law. And then after that, I will expose the truth to the public, who will be appalled at how far their government is willing to go in order to create a lie about someone's character. But some things are best said where legal actions can take course. Other than that, we give the enemy an advantage with how to counteract or counter intelligence, how we're going about exposing this evil that lurks in the darkness, and so forth. So I want to welcome everyone on, and I want to invite everyone to explore this concept, this reality, if you will, that is undeniable here in the United States, and apparently is uh, a United Nations agenda, at least in part. I'm not going to say that all members of the UN is in agreement with this transhumanistic world movement, but the likes of USA and Britain with MI5 and MI6 backing it definitely is. Well, we asked the question, what is transhumanism? What does it mean to be anti-humanism or antichrist, as the scriptures uh, vernacularly puts it? It simply means what it is and what you have been experiencing over the past decade or such. That's them attempting to turn your daughters into your sons, turning your little boys into little girls, turning humans into robots or robotizing the human beings and trying to humanize the robots. Let me say that again so you can wrap your mind around it. We're talking about a group of people who's so twisted in mind that they're trying to turn your little boys into little girls. They're promoting it. They're trying to turn your little girls into little boys, vice versa. They're trying to turn the humans into robots and trying to turn the robots into humans or make them more human like. And this is where we are in society and it can no longer be ignored. We are living out a nightmare far beyond what we've read about in George Orwell's book 1984 with the surveillance, etc. We're looking at deception, treachery, and evil at its pinnacle. And I believe that it needs to be spoken against. Most people are too afraid because, your life is on the line when you speak up and you speak out. Many people have had their lives utterly destroyed, such as myself, for standing on morals, principles, and values that they hold dear as human beings. For speaking out against this transhumanism, uh, they have had their lives utterly destroyed. Now, as I mentioned before, the program built around um, this psychological warfare, weaponization of psychology, or what we would call dark psychology, coupled with uh, the weaponization of pharmacology that comes with the drugging, the poisoning, the non-consensual testings of um, mind altering and biological altering substances, coupled with, yes, it continues, neural invasive technology and the likes of Neuralink, or what some may uh, refer to as cybernetic psychotronic synthetic telepathy technology. And it continues, coupling that with uh, electromagnetic directed energy weapons. That's the weaponization of frequencies, or the weaponization of um, physics. You know, couple that with a dumbed down, mentally degraded hive mind, herd mind society that can be utilized as a private army against one person. Well, what do you have? I'll tell you what you have. You have the new United Snakes of America. That's what you have. You have this new concept of America that is completely opposed to the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness that we once uh, all agreed upon as fellow citizens of humanity. And I'll get to some of these comments. It says, yes, this is a this is man's last great fight, humanity versus transhumanism, a fight over our most fundamental human rights to exist, to think, and live free, our cognitive liberty and neural rights. And so this is a fight for all that we are and all that um, we wish to remain. Unfortunately, on the opposite side, we have a brainwashed society that is for this. They've been they've brought into the delusion that somehow this is for the greater good. And I just left a company where I was supposed to have been picking up, and I came across a lady, if you will, who was wide-eyed. She had those Sampuku, uh, eyes, probably definitely a MK Ultra victim, a cultic, if you will. And she was just, the most evil, twisted being I've encountered all year. And I glanced across her desk as she was giving me problems, attempting to pick up my load to complete my job. And I saw a chapter in the book or a pamphlet that she was reading. And and in this pamphlet was discussing, you know what I mean, benefits of becoming a god through technology and what's that new age? It's not called sorcery. Oh man, I forget the name of it. It'll pop in my mind in just a minute, hopefully. Um, where they utilize crystals and all this other stuff. But the new mindset is this is great for us, and they don't mind, acquiescing to the transhumanism that is ongoing before our eyes. I tell you, they have been brainwashed, and most people don't understand what topical psychology, and that was Bernays who actually founded topical psychology. It was the nephew of Sigmund Freud. Couldn't think of it in last night's live stream due to the mental fatigue, but that's something that you may want to look up. What is topical psychology? It's brainwashing. It is mind altering behavioral tactics or behavior modification, simply put. But when it comes to this, and this is what you should know, most people think of brainwashing. When most people think of brainwashing, they tend to think about uh, depictions seen in films. In Hollywood films, it's commonly depicted that victims undergo a series of treatments in order to have their will essentially subjugated to that of their masters. As a result, the victim stops thinking for themselves. Instead, the victim ends up acting and behaving in the manner the master or manipulator orders them to. Now, uh, that is a simplified or trivialized version of the truth. Having your will bent to that of another, but it's more complicated than that. How is it that these handlers, that these higher ups, these so-called elites that lurk in darkness and puppet masters society, how do they uh, make this possible? How do they put it in motion or perpetrate this? It says almost always brainwashing involves some type of force or trauma, which cause the victim to essentially fear the consequences of not complying with the manipulator's orders. A good example of this can be seen in the film A Clockwork Orange, in which an inmate is subjected to a series of tortures. And that's what they have been doing to, or attempting to do to targeted individuals, imprison us in this electronic control grid prison, this social isolation prison, and subjecting us to all bouts of psychological, emotional, neuroinvasive torture. Uh, each torture increases the level of violence at the extent where the test subjects' will is broken. That's what they want to do. That's what this whole program was designed to do, is to break your will. You know what I mean? Many people's will have been broken. They say who the scriptures in the book of Revelations, chapter 13, says the people will in these latter times will become so broken that they will have a saying, who can make war against the beast? Who can make war against the beast? Who can resist the will of the beast? That is the mindset of someone whose will have been broken. Uh, so, forced trauma is the initiator. And if you look back on the recent events since 9/11 and onward, the American society have been repetitively traumatized through wars, through forced acts of public aggression, whether through racial violence, whether through um, school shootings or massacres, the trauma that they've created and allowed since 9/11 uh, is unfathomable. Nonetheless, this is the catalyst for topical psychology or brainwashing, if you will. It continues to say in this film, the entire purpose of the process is to rehabilitate a convicted criminal into a model member of society so that you are seen as the replacement of one set of behaviors for another. So, replacing one set of behaviors for another, that's behavior modification. And that's what they wish to do. We who have hold on to our humanism, right? We're not fit for their transhumanistic, um, pseudo utopic society of transhumanism, right? So they have to break our will to hold on to our humanity in order to be in acceptance of the abomination of this antichrist or anti-humanism movement going forth. It's like a train. You either move out the way or get ran over. That's what they're saying. And so the purpose is to rehabilitate, meaning to break you and then to make you back into their image. And the majority of society, they, they've been broken and they've been behaviorally modified and socially re-engineered for this new world order construct to fit right in to the brick pyramid society. It says, of course, there are many more meaningful ways in which this can be done. However, the effectiveness and overall success of replacing a habit by means uh, another then violent ones cannot necessarily be guaranteed, meaning positive reinforcement. I forget the guy's name, uh, of positive reinforcement. And remember, a lot of the so called um, founders, I wouldn't even say founders, or what's a good word to use? Patriarchs of these psychological branches. They were clinical psychopaths. They were monsters. I can't think of his name. If you know the name or if you can Google the name, put it into the live stream and I'll share it on the screen. But what I do remember from my studies is that he uh, founded positive reinforcement psychology by torturing animals, specifically dogs. Specifically, dogs. He would torture them, um, and you know what I mean, and then treat them like it was like good cop, bad cop, or I mean, these were animal abusers. He would literally torture animals to death, um, And then if they did what he wanted them to do, he would reward them with a simple treat. Imagine being a dog, Fido, old Yella, if you will, and there's a human being who calls himself a scientist who's either going to torture you to death if you don't understand the commands that he's barking or uttering, or he's going to give you a treat if you just so happen to guess it right every time you guess it right. Tell me a scientist or someone worthy of being given accolades in academia. That is a monster. That's what we call a monster. Most of them are. Most of them continue to be. And they are hiding or ensconcing themselves in our pillars of society. That is federal branches, our fusion centers, our uh, government, whether it's judicial, executive, or legislative, uh, or everyday social, um, economic constructs. They are hiding themselves, and it's difficult to identify who's who if you don't have the discernment, the ability to be able to interact with someone long enough to be able to decipher their mindset. Although the manipulator, although the um, monster have a good tendency of hiding it. I know I've been in this war for over 10 years. And even for me, I found it difficult, in especially in the beginning, to be able to identify these federal monsters that are hiding in our social constructs. It says while this type of situation do happen, there are not talking about using trauma-based mind control in this book. So I'll jump down. The term brainwashing is used to refer to the fact that a person's set of beliefs and ideal is replaced by another as implanted by the manipulator. So the topic of this discussion is how to survive in an anti-humanism society, right? And the brainwashing that have been ongoing in this new age America is humans are obsolete, past aid, and this new era artificial intelligence and quantum physics, we need to evolve. We need to be forced evolve, merging man and machine, so to speak. Mankind need to be cybernetic, meaning become more uh, technology like, so to speak. And how do you break someone's or brainwash someone's uh, will and their core set of beliefs and ideals and replace it with another? Well, you just torture someone or you eliminate someone. You exclude them from the benefits of being in agreement with the social direction, which is what has happened to me. I get no phone calls from family, friends, etc., due to the fact that they have used a very um, complex systems of lies, threats, um, blackballing, blacklisting tactics, etc., in order to um, perpetrate this crime against my life. Not to mention making it all happen extrajudicially, meaning that the harder I try to get these bastards in court, the harder they fight to keep me out of court. They want to destroy someone in the court of public opinion. And the reason why I have not spoken up or made any knowns, although I could have many years ago, is because that's not how this beast is defeated. You know, if we're going to defeat this anti-humanistic beast mindset, we must do it as a human. We must not compromise our morals, ethics, and values and core principles. If we believe that due process and justice is the humanistic way, then that's how we defeat the beast. Just observe, you know, what is the beast avoiding and so afraid of? The beast is having intentions and confronted with and to like transparency. So you put them on Front Street. I know that sounds complicated. I'll simplify it in my own personal testimony. Recently, the government uses a tactic where they monitor my phone calls. After monitoring my phone calls, it will pull someone to the side and will force feed them lies they've been building up over a series of years. They will then convince that person to participate in something known as conversation. This is where the direction of the conversation is coerced, um, you know, in such a way that it's supposed to be hyper interrogative, meaning that the suspected target should know what the hidden objective or meaning of what's happening behind the scenes. And it would definitely disrupt the live stream along that topic. So, like I was saying, the person who's talking to me in the conversation do not is underneath the assumption, hey, this person don't know all this bad stuff that we got, and we've told him, make sure you don't say anything, etc. But in the conversation, we're going to throw these lies, slanders, and see how he responds or reacts. Of course, I've been doing this for years, so I just play reverse psychology back on those low down dirty bastards and say, if you want to have a public conversation, I'm on this live stream. You can jump in and then we can discuss it and the people can know the real truth and they can know how evil, sinister, and deceptive and manipulative their United States government really is and how broken the social construct is in order to participate as false witnesses, lies, and slanderers in this character assassination, anti-humanistic, uh, anti-humanism campaign against my life and apparently many others. Um, and that kind of gives you an ideal, hopefully, based on my personal circumstances of how this thing operates. Sometimes they'll implant people into your life, meaning that they will use their agent provocateurs. They will convince someone, hey, get up close to this person, befriend them, exchange numbers, and build a pseudo relationship for the purposes of uh, infiltration, interrogation. But like I said, I'm right here. I'm easily approachable. My phone number is 331 sorry, 331-8167. And the government still isn't hiding. What do they have to hide? A whole lot. They don't want to be exposed. They're criminals, they're monsters, um, and much worse. So, heck, they can't even tell you the truth about the fact that they've launched a series of brain invasive surveillance satellites into the sky. They would have you to believe that unidentified flying objects are floating over the American uh, states and cities. And they will, Operation Mockingbird, if you don't know what Operation Mockingbird is, just Google it because I don't have time to teach everybody. They will Operation Mockingbird you through mainstream media, CIA level mind control through news platforms. Go look it up. This isn't anything I'm making up. This isn't conspiracy theory. This is them literally conspiring over decades in order to take away your human rights. And it's been very effective. And as the scriptures say, people will cower in obedience, saying, "Who can make war against the beast?" But I am reminded of chapter 14 that follows up by saying, "And I stood and saw, standing on Mount Zion, a lamb ready for war, and with him 144,000 humans untainted by the beast system, science, and technology, ready to execute war and obtain victory over this transhumanistic beast that had risen his head up out of the sea and overwhelmed the people with the weaponization of the Department of Justice, the science community, the tech community, um, and the pharmaceutical industry. They've weaponized life against the human being. In essence, they have terraformed the social construct to be more alien to a human being than we could have ever imagined. We're seeing terraforming take place on a major scale and don't even have the ability to identify what it is. What is terraforming? Terraforming is recreating the environment in such a way that it favors one species and not another. This is where the chemtrails come into place. This is where the mind to brain computer interfacing come into place. This is where all the technology that invites one to subtract, abstract themselves or remove themselves from the real world and introduce themselves to the virtual realities that they have set up. So let me get to some of this. Oh, yep. See, and it had slipped my mind, but I knew we had a intellectual audience. Um, Pavlov is the name of the scientist that I couldn't think of. That is the monster. Monster Pavlov is the one who actually did the. He's accredited for positive reinforcement or positive psychology. Go look this stuff up. And this is from 20 years ago. So it's not going to be fresh on my mind because it's been a long time since I've taken, uh, psychology courses, etc., sociology, and all that other stuff. Anyway, it says in Torture Humans, Pavlov had extensive power in former USSR. His work and research is the basis of all post World War II dark psychology, transhumanism based mind control, sensitization, color, and noise triggering. I'm going to leave this on here for a second. Hopefully, people can gather that. I tell people choose education over entertainment. It will help you in the long run. It will help you majorly. Education over entertainment. Turn off those comedy shows. Close that comic book and read something that is going to inform you. Um, as Battle for Your Brain has apparently educated his mind. Right, the system we are in has collected all of history's dark psychology knowledge, that's the occult, for from World War II, from the Japanese, Germans, Russians, and all Western knowledge and science to weaponize brain science. This is the truth. We're at war with Nazis all over again. This is the reality that people don't want to accept. You know what I mean? Nazism is a philosophy. It's a philosophy. And if your actions, your beliefs, ethics, and behaviors line up with Nazism, guess what? You're a Nazi, whether you want to be called one or not. But the leaders of this deep state America are nothing more than Hitler Nazis. As a matter of fact, they're worse than Hitler because they're hypocritical. At least Adolf Hitler had the uh, decency to be able to publicly express himself, along with Mussolini, who accepted the doctrine of fascism, and Stalin and the likes thereof. What people are missing is the American corporate giants and bankers that was in alliance with the philosophy, meaning the thought process, the belief system of Nazism, and the likes of, I don't know, John Kellogg, the Bushes, the Reagans, Henry Ford, and a host of others that I could name that was in line and literally funded the Nazi, movement, which involved transhumanism with the, you know, um, Daco Warsaw projects with the, what was it, um, Levensburn or Levensburn projects, etc., gene selection, gene manipulation, all that uh, other stuff in order to alter the human species from what it once was. Educate your minds, people. This stuff is public information. I don't have exclusive rights and access to this. It's public information. It's stuff that I just so happen to read in books. Books are fun. Read someday. Yes, your testimony is a great example of this dark psychological system, COINTELPRO directed conversations that exposes how your privacy and freedom has been violated. Exactly. And they're messing with the lie. Yeah, because anytime the truth is coming out, they don't want it. That censorship on truth. That goes to show you the initial statements that was made in this live stream is actually true. They're anti-constitutional, is what I said at the beginning of this live stream. Your First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. You know what I mean? This is a public platform. As long as you are not harming someone or making false claims that would harm someone, you should have the First Amendment protected right to utilize this platform to express your thoughts, opinions, and ideals. Right? How do they they're using technology in order to censor the people. Imagine how much more evil and cynical this is going to be once they utilize technology in order to censor the thought from being produced in the mind of the individual to even discuss these topics. Imagine at the push of a button, they can, you know what I mean, block the thought from even formulating in someone's mind. This is, some of the ways this brain invasive technology can be negatively used in order to uh, subject someone to the elite's will. It says, yes, you're right. This is an evolution of MK Ultra, COINTELPRO, Operation Paperclip, Stasi, um, Pavlovian conditioning, metaverse, asylum. Thank you for speaking. The truth, logic for, and a logic in for educating us. Once again, you guys are welcome. I'm fighting for every man, woman, boy, girl, for every tiny baby in the world that has a right to hold on to their humanism. You know what I mean? If they want to lose their humanism, guess what? They have the right to do so. But they do not have the right to force us to come in alliance with that. It needs to be a public statement. There's a society that no longer wants to be human or maybe never was human. And they wish to live in a terraformed society that better suits their being or existence or whatever it is. They're, you know what I mean? And maybe a piece of the earth or a piece of the moon can be given to them, and there can be a diplomatic solution, which is uh, sad to say that, you know what I mean, when it comes to diplomacy and negotiation, they're not capable of that. So that at war is all you're left with when diplomacy is taken off the option. Um, it says this is a great book. Can you post the author and title? Um, I don't know which book that you're speaking of. Oh, the dark psychology. It's called Dark Psychology and Manipulation. It is by William Cooper. It is by William Cooper. This is one of um, many that I suggest people read, and you know what I mean. So, uh, and it is helpful, and being able to maneuver through this war zone, this spiritual, emotional, and mental war zone that is ongoing here in the United States of America. I feel like Rambo, you guys. Okay, so as promised, we're going to revisit uh, this informatory that I've been passing out through communities throughout the years of me coming into the understanding of what's actually happening in this deep state heist America. America has been hijacked by Nazis. All right, so murder, electromagnetic murder, microwave murder, being cooked alive, electromagnetic mind control, brain zapping. This is the topic. The FBI, NSA psychopaths are conducting these non consensual, secret, sadistic, perverted, and psychopathic synthetic telepathy experiments, um, psycho electronic weapons attacks on hundreds of thousands of innocent citizens, and I would venture to say millions at this point. Now, like I said before, they have already launched the brain invasive satellite drones capable of, um, you know what I mean, brain invade. Um, all the neural tech that we've talked about, these brain invasive satellites, drones, have been launched. Neuralink is on a whole nother level, and people are about to find out exactly what we're up against. You know what I mean? This is exclusive information. I have sources. I can't say, but I have inside sources that's telling me, that have informed me, hey, you know what I mean? You're the guy. This is what's going on. I can't say too much, but my inside sources have informed me what these drones are. You're not seeing them in Canada. You're not seeing them in Mexico. You're seeing them in the United States and the U.S. Social system is about to get a rude awakening pretty soon, as to, you know what I mean. There's, I can't say. I will digress. Let's just say what targeted individuals been complaining about is being injected or has been injected with steroids, and this beast is about to come out against the entire United States of America. These narcissists feel as if, you know what I mean, they can do anything and there'll be no consequences. Not taking into consideration what happens when the likes of China or Russia hack into these mind invasive surveillance tech drones they have launched across every major city in the United States. Continuing, the Pentagon and the U.S. intelligence agencies called the NSA, CSS, or Central Secret Service, DARPA, the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, the Central Intelligence Agency, Department of Homeland Security, Federal Bureau of Investigation, which attacked me, broke into my home when I lived at 241 Ottawa Bend Drive in Moores, Illinois, apartment 204, and not only drugged me, poisoned me, and beat me and violated me in the worst, sinister, most disgusting, evil ways ever imaginable to humanity. Uh, I wish this upon no one except for them. Um, yeah, but on top of that, they um, refused me the ability to get any sort of medical treatment for what they done. They compounded the trauma. Like I said, that's one of the brainwashing tactics is forced trauma, right? By isolating me from social support and love of my family, friends, etc. The FBI and the CIA are definitely criminals, and they're going to pay for what they've done to me, for what they've done to my family, and many other American citizens. But continuing, their counterintelligence programs, which means their black ops program units, has extremely secretive technology that can pick up on the private thoughts given by individuals and the vibrations produced by the brain electrical impulses. And those thoughts can be broadcasted by means of microwave transceivers, infrasound, ultrasound transceivers, satellites, which those satellite drones are being used to broadcast thoughts, etc. That's what they are, and the news know it. CNN, NBC, ABC, they're lying to you. It's a distraction, it's a farce. You should slap them for lying blatantly in your face. You know what I mean? Like for anyone who's watching this video and the feds have called you and their citizen provocateurs of chaos have called you, tell them and say, hey, this guy's alive now. Why don't you confront him with that mess? I wonder what he's going to say. Would he expose you in the lies and break it all down and show how you built that lie and those series of lies against him? I'm live. Once again, my number is 318-331-8167. They can call me and you can call me. You can ask me straight up. Notice they put the phone calls and the conversation to a stop once they found out that I knew all along. Why? Because the manipulator is only able to work their magic if they keep you in the dark. Once you come into the light, as the scriptures say, you are free and they are powerless against you. Dark minds only have power if they keep you in the dark. So, continuing. So, satellites and other um, forms of technology which use electromagnetic transfer, though, that simply put frequencies. For an example, television, radio, internet, cell phone, etc. So the weaponization of frequencies, weaponization of quantum physics, weaponization of life against the human being is what we're uh, saying. The Pentagon, which means the White House knows about it, calls this mind reading technology synthetic telepathy. That's a generic term. Although there is nothing paranormal about it at all, the NSA, the National Security Agency, which I'm not too far away from, is part, and they use this a lot. The NSA is evil. These are people that most of your agents, these acts are part of the NSA and part of the branch of military known as um, the space defense, the aerospace defense department. But I have to interject that the NSA, or National Security Agency, is a secret part of the Department of Defense and a very secretive part at that. So NSA are definitely directly connected to the satellite drones people are seeing. And the NSA has a black budget, meaning that they're not audited as to how they spend billions of dollars annually to conduct these sinister programs of life destruction, brain invasive, non consensual human experimentation on the likes of the population, specifically myself. Has a black budget and is always headed by a flag officer from one of the branches of the U.S. military. The top secret technology available to the U.S. military is usually 30 to 40 years more advanced than what is available to the civilian economy. Who's to know the general U.S. public what level of technology is hidden in the secret laboratories of the NSA and DARPA? That is a question we should ponder. If they're 30 and 40 years more advanced than we are, what kind of technology do they have? If we have smartphones, if we have Gemini artificial intelligence, if we have Siri artificial intelligence available to us on this current market, if we have uh, um, Tesla bots available to us on this U.S. Market, civilian market, how much more advanced technology is available in the secret laboratories of the U.S. military, CIA, NSA, etc.? Something to think about. Nanotechnology is a real thing, and they have weaponized that in ways that you couldn't even imagine. Today, there is microscopic computer chips based on nanotechnology. This is what I was just speaking about. Uh, it's also referred to as dark matter. And I don't want to get off kilter, but essentially, nanotechnology and dark matter is one and the same. So, for those of you who are somewhat physics competent, or you're competent of, atomic science, uh, the atom, or this building blocks of life, is made up of protons, neutrons, and electrons. And of course, you have subatomic particles, and you can splinter off into a facet of different complicated conversations, and I'm not here to do that because that's not my profession. I'm here to make it simple and comprehensible for the viewing audience. And basically, what I am saying is the atom. You've probably seen models of it in your third grade science class. Big nucleus, and then surrounded by electronic, you know, smaller balls called electrons that orbits, much like their depiction of the solar system. And those electrons um, orbit around the nucleus, which is made up of the neutrons and the protons, right? So the electrons, which orbits on a ring or orbit, just the same way like the moon orbits the Earth, they say in their theory, right? So the electrons orbit the nucleus, which is a combination of the neutrons and the protons. And each ring has a certain number of electronical charges on them or particles on them, right? Except for isotopes. Isotopes have an imbalanced number of electrons for each element that contains a certain number of neutrons, protons, and electrons. And I'm not overcomplicating that for somebody who's listening and they say, you know what, this is too much for me. I think I'll turn this video off. No, listen, because I'm a dummy. I'm I'm not, you know what I mean, Isaac Newton or any of the likes thereof. I'm just a simpleton, and if I can get it, you can get it. That's why I'm simplifying it. And I wish I had a pen and a piece of paper so I could draw it. But you can pull up the models to see what I'm talking about. What do an atom look like? And just pull it up. And as I'm explaining it, you can correlate this and you'll understand. I said all that to say this. All right, so those electrons stay on their orbital ring around the nucleus unless something abnormal happened in an isotopic, which means unbalanced electrical balance. The electrical balance is off, right? There's something that happens where the electronic charge isn't where it's supposed to be. Then that thing becomes transdimensional. What do the word transdimensional mean? Meaning that this dimension, this space time um, continuum of universal existence that we live in and are able to express ourselves, is able to move out of this dimension to somewhere else outside of this dimension and reappear. Well, they've through through the weaponization and advancements of quantum physics, been able to open up portals to other dimensions and collect those transdimensional particles from outside of this universe. I know that is, it sounds sci-fi, et cetera, et cetera. I'm telling you the reality of these demonic bastards doing in secret. It's a project. It's called CERN, CERN. Look it up. You know what I mean? And come back and tell me I'm a liar if it's not true. CERN, the opening of portals, etc., in order to collect something known as dark matter. Dark matter is just the reterming of electronical particles as they leave this universe and find existence in an alternate, or what the scriptures would call a dark dimension or outer darkness, so to speak. And when they collect it, it becomes evil. It becomes a weapon of a magnitude unimaginable. And even to, according to my inside sources, they don't even know the extent or capability of this dark matter or nanotechnology that they have collected and weaponized. But that's pretty much what nanotechnology is in essence, or dark matter. which can be inserted into a person by means of injection. Now, I've had my channel banned for over a month, maybe 2 months, and they wanted to ban me till January due to talking about injections, a specific type of injection. So I won't do it this time because the censorship is real. But just know they can inject this the nanoparticles into your body intravenously, or tooth fillings, etc., with or without the doctor's or pharmacist's knowledge. Sorry. So, meaning your doctor, when administering most of the drugs or the pharmaceuticals that's been given to him from the likes of Pfizer, Moderna, Bayer, etc., Big Pharma, they don't know. You're just an assumption that your doctor knows what's in that pill or knows what's in that solution. They don't know. They don't go home after work and study, and you know what I mean? That's not their job. They get a packet. It's healthcare is a business, right? They went to school to make the money. They do what they're told. They get a chance to keep their job. They get a chance to keep their licenses. They do what they're told. As a matter of fact, the CDC isn't even headed by the majority of the time by a licensed physician, someone astute in the skill of medicine or pharmacy. Once again, health care is a business. That's why they don't call it health cures, because they're not trying to cure you. They're trying to make and have been making money off you paying those outrageous um, insurance premiums for PPOs and HMOs, et cetera. But that's a topic for a different time. So they're told to administer something to you, and the doctors that have researched certain things have had their license revoked. They've had their ability to practice in the American system revoked. And this is part of what we've discussed earlier in this video, how they punish someone. Uh, and let's go back a page or two. Um, I can't scheme fast enough. All right, but we read earlier in this chapter 16 how brainwashing or um, conditioning someone like Pavlov did with the dogs and the humans, someone into compliance, come with punishing people for holding on to their core ethics and beliefs and ideals, etc. So many of the doctors and attorneys, they know that going against the grain of this transhumanism movement comes with consequences they're not willing to pay. Everyone wants to get a paycheck and be able to take care of themselves, their wives, their families, etc. And when you're no longer able to practice, or you're censored, or you're subjected to this neuroinvasive technology and have had your life destroyed through the counterintelligence 2.0 like I have, then yeah, it's easy to just say, you know what, I'm going to go along to get along. You know what I mean? At least I'll survive. And that's going back to the topic, surviving in an anti humanism society. Most people choose surviving, um, a being in compliance as a form of survival. Let me tell you, that's not how one should choose to survive in an anti-humanism society. You should choose to resist. Now, one of my heroes, Dr. Martin Luther King, in my book, some people don't like him. I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, in my personal opinion, everybody have their own. You know, he had something called peaceful resistance or nonviolent resistance, meaning that you resist, but you resist and with your mind, you resist with actions that shows that you're not in compliance and you're not in acceptance with the unjust, immoral behaviors of leadership and the direction that they're attempting to take society in. So I'm not saying that people need to arm themselves. You may have to, but I'm not necessarily saying that that is a way. What I am saying is compliance isn't the way that we're going to be able to retain our humanity. You know what I mean? We got to. It's there's a scripture verse in my faith that says, um, uh, the basically the kingdom is acquired with violence, and the violence take it by force, meaning that sometimes you got to aggressively um, take or hold on to what you hold dear and valuable because they're aggressively attempting to take that away from you. Believe it or not, they're aggressive in their actions to take away your rights to live and survive as a human being. When they're forcing your child to sit in classes that mentally condition them to accept being anti-human, they're being aggressive. When every television show is promoting the anti-humanism or the transhumanistic movement, they're being aggressive. When all forms of inclusion in economical, academic, and social uh, a- be, constructs is based on your willingness to comply or not, they're being aggressive. Mandates, you know what I mean? I'll just simply put mandates, and the mandates are going to become more aggressive. You know what I mean? If you don't accept it, guess what? You can't participate. This is where we are. So, how do we survive? We survive the best way humans have known to survive throughout the ages. We have survived cataclysmic volcano eruptions. We have survived ice ages. We have survived droughts. We have survived, um, the Black Plague. We've survived um, asteroid collisions with the Earth. We have survived more than cockroaches here on this Earth. And you know what it is that caused human beings to survive? The Most High's will. You have to understand that we survive by faith, not by sight, but by faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Hold on to your faith in humanity. Hold on into the faith that we have survived much worse than what has come upon us. And long after this transhumanistic movement has gone, we'll still be here holding on to our humanity. That means the ability to love, to feel, to have emotions, which they don't want you to have. They want to deprive you of that. They want a apathetic society. Our will, we want to hold on to our will, our ability to choose the direction of life, our mind, and our ability to think freely, as the Battle for Your Brain just said. They want to put us in an asylum to be able to imprison us and restrict us from being able to think freely for ourselves. But we're going to hold on to our mind, our real emotions, our spirit, the spirit of humanity, and we're going to hold on to our faith, and we're going to survive this. Believe it or not, I'm fighting for all of humanity. I fight every single day in mind, body, and spirit. I'm fighting not only for myself and my family, but I'm fighting for you too. All human beings out here that love your ability to live as you were born to be and have the right to exist. I'm fighting for you. And we're going to win this. I'm not saying that it's going to be pretty. I'm not saying the road is going to be easy. I just can promise you one thing. In the end, we will survive, we will win, and we will remain wholly intact as human beings, uncompromised by a tyrannical, Nazi, transhumanistic um, system. Till next time, I want you guys to continue to stay woke, continue to stay in the word, continue to educate yourself, and I promise you, you will be blessed. Feel free to share this video and any other video you feel will be helpful in the awakening. Till next time, your boy MTAC, as always, has got to be his out.